Hi guys, Bran here. This is going to be the last time I make a video about this whole situation because in theory it is done, but as we will discuss, it's not actually done. But it's the last time I'm going to be making a video about it for a multitude of reasons. But yes, if you did not see the recent controversy with the PTB testing the tunneling and slugging and off-hook reduction systems that were way too much and almost just served to punish the killer for playing the game more than it did actually target people who were egregiously tunneled or slugged. Those are actually being rolled back. Those are not going to be coming to the live version of the game. Behavior put out a post recently talking about it, and I know that doesn't get to everywhere. I know a lot of people were still coming into my stream today talking about how bad the changes were, and I had to inform them directly. So here's my update video about it. Usually I do not make update videos just to say, hey, they're reverting the bad changes, and I put a pinned comment, but these were pretty game breaking. These probably would have ruined the game for a lot of people. So I did want to make a video at least talking about, hey, those will get reverted. Those are not going to be coming to the live game. But this is where the video goes from thank you, Behavior, thank you for doing that, thank you for listening to us, to not so great, because it's not that they're being reverted and they're being considered changes that are bad. It's more so that they are just moving it to a quote unquote an upcoming PTB down the line, and we will release them when we believe they are ready. So no, they are not going away. Matter of fact, they are still coming, just down the line. And furthermore, they said not only that they are going to test them again, but we will release them when we believe they're ready. So regardless of how much you hate these changes, they're coming at some point. They spell it out here. Despite the fact that we very, very vocally did not want these, they are coming at some point, which is really funny considering at the top of this, you once again say the DBD meme at this point. This is almost getting as good as a pretty good job so far. We need, we hear you. We heard you clearly. We hear you. We heard you clearly. And I'm just going to say, no. No, you don't. You do not hear us. You do not hear us. We did not want these changes at all. There were a lot of people in the community that were like, we could pick and choose certain things, but by and large, most of the community hated 80 to 90% of the changes that were going to come through, which means this should be something different entirely. But you keep saying, oh, we hear you guys. You don't hear us, because this was immediately followed up on with, yeah, we're going to switch some things and we're going to try it again just later. And I think that the track record so far this year shows that, yeah, once again, you are in fact not hearing us. We warned you miles away that the clown changes were not a healthy update to the character. People who liked playing them enjoyed them less. People who hated facing clown hated facing them even more. And that made it to live anyway. And there's just a plethora of changes like that recently where, despite the fact that PTB is in fact for testing things and trying to improve things, you've just put stuff out to live anyways. So no, you aren't hearing us. You are not hearing us. I don't know. The flip side of this is that, like, once upon a time, when I first started playing DBD, Behavior did not care what the community thought. And it was very poignant that they didn't care what the community thought. If something was OP or bugged, it would take years to fix. I'm not exaggerating for the sake of entertainment. It would take 3 or 4 years to see a balance change to something that was clearly overpowered or a bug fix that was game breaking for a character. DBD for a long time on Behavior's end just kind of phoned it in for a little bit. And that's the era I joined in. And that's why I have been so passionate and so happy to have like the devs reach out to the community, ask for feedback, community managers and people's streams and people's YouTube comments, trying to touch base with the community. But this statement reads like, yeah, well, you didn't like it this time. Clearly it's not that these are bad. It's just that, like, you just didn't like it this time. So we'll try it again later and it'll go live. Don't worry. It's like, there, little buddy. Clearly you don't know what you're talking about. And it's just like, clearly you don't hear us. And please stop saying we hear you. You are not listening. I think if I want to put it in a way that is constructive, I think a better comparison of a 4 better health version of limiting the killer egregious play styles in a way that helps but doesn't harm the killer gameplay flow is something like the anti-camp meter for the camping situation. This was something that it only affects camping. It wasn't like, okay, when I'll off hook, you're invincible and you don't get to see the unhooks, and also you can't slug, also you can't tunnel. It wasn't like massive game breaking changes all at once. It was, hey, if you're too close to the hook, they will eventually gain the ability to unhook themselves. And this gets worse and worse the more people are around, because then the bar slows down. That way, basically, the only thing that was being affected by this change were the people that would do the malicious thing where they would just hook somebody with Bubba and just stand right there. everybody else can basically play around it. If you are in a situation where you need to camp somebody out of the game, you just kind of have to do it at a further range. And there's a lot of situations in map design and DBD where you kind of can still camp from far away, especially if you're like Huntress, and still watch a hook. It's just the base campers had their situation reduced to where they couldn't really do it anymore. That is a change that is more in line with the kind of things you were wanting, because for 95% of the player base, these changes, the change to anti-camp didn't really affect anything. There, every once in a while, I'll be too close to a hook and I'll be like, maybe I need to like scoot out a little bit. But that's the only time it like consciously comes into my brain of the anti-camp mechanic. And you've almost completely eliminated face camping, like period. Like I don't see people do it anymore. So in the future, if you want to make changes that make the health of the game better, they need to be subtle like that, and the effect that it essentially only affects the people that maliciously do it, like tunneling out the gate at 5 gens, or somebody slugging out, 4-man slugging out the whole team. Like those sort of situations, yes, make something that works for those, but everybody else should not be affected by this. That was the most egregious, frustrating thing about these changes, is that if you didn't hard tunnel, even if you didn't hard slug, you were being affected by these. I'm gonna tell you how many lose-lose situations I ended up in because, you know, the lack of conspicuous actions mean that somebody could go hop on a gen, go hop on my hex totem, and I just kind of had to let them, because if they just came off hook, I couldn't go after them, because then I would, you know, tunnel them, and then that gives everybody else all these buffs and I get punished and it's awful. But if I slugged them, then they just get back up later. I was actually talking about this on stream lately. If you guys remember, if you guys played old DBD, before the conspicuous action mechanic was even in the game, DS Unbreakable used to be the strongest, most powerful combo in the game of Dead by Daylight, because DS didn't turn off for anything. So somebody could get off hook, run, get on a gen in your face, and if you downed them, they had Unbreakable, so they just get back up. But if you picked them up off the gen, they just DS you and start a whole new chase. So essentially, they brought that in back into DBD as a base kit mechanics, because that was a healthy state for Dead by Daylight when you just were lose because of DS Unbreakable. It was fantastic. Yes, if somehow this gets to behavior in any way, shape, or form, try to do things more subtle, like the anti-camp mechanic, things that don't really bother a majority of the player base that are playing normally, but specifically is something that is not obtrusive, that does stop a specific thing that makes people upset. There's a whole lot of other things I can go into with this, which are just honestly just complaining, for lack of a better way to put it. Realistically, if you put any of these sort of like restrictions or changes on the survivor side of the game, of course nobody would be cool with that. Like this would never even be considered. I think that's what really bothers me about the fact that this post reads is, oh well, it's not that they're going away permanently, they're just going to come back later, except slightly different, and they will go live at some point, because I don't understand why I have to be extremely guardrailed and told how to play the game, and I have to play in a perfectly good boy manner. Remember the gold hooks? I have to play in the good boy manner and see down there on the hooks, the hook icon, that I'm being a good boy and not being too mean. But survivors can bring deja vu, prove thyself, hyper-focused stakeout, never been touched, exhaustion hasn't been balanced in years. That's allowed to happen. They're allowed to have a vast amount of playstyles that are all extremely effective. But in behavior's eyes, at this point, if you tunnel or slug, that's too mean. You gotta stop. Fun fact, did you know that Deja Vu was not supposed to be just a flat gen buff perk? It was only supposed to be a temporary fix to the fact that 3 gens were a problem at the time, and behavior not yet finished the mechanic where gens had a maximum damage state. Once the maximum damage state was supposed to, be implemented, Deja Vu was supposed to go back to what it was. Guess what never happened, and will probably remain that way. Deja Vu, it is still just a flat gen buff, even though the thing that it had been adjusted to be a counter for has not been in the game for an extremely long period of time. And I know there's a lot of people out there who would probably err on the side of behavior and say, hey, well, we don't know what they're working on. We don't know if they're, stressed out with some other thing they're trying to adjust or work on. But we saw through the Chandler rig stream that once they saw that there is a flaw in the ability of hackers to just invade people's lobbies, it took them, 3 days to make a whole new mechanic to have to ask permission to enter people's lobbies. They fixed it like that. So realistically, if they wanted to, they would. There is something that they deem to be a severe issue. Realistically, they can and will fix it in a timely manner. It's just that was like a big public spat that was like super embarrassing. So they were just kind of like, okay, well, we have to fix that. Or the rest of this stuff, if they took it seriously, they probably could put it out in a much more timely manner. I think the thing, if I could summarize my feelings, is that I started off this little video by talking about how, like, when back in my day, back in 2020, DBD would just like not fix things for years at a time. And it was almost like it was just radio silence from behavior on our worries and complaints, right? It's almost worse now in 2025, where they hear us, quote unquote, but they just kind of like do things anyway. It's a really bizarre place to be, because it's almost worse in the sense that, like, there's hope there. I have hope that you will listen to us. I have hope that you will change things for the better. But realistically, especially based on the post alone that you made with this, is that you just really want to pacify us, is the vibe that I get. Because you are still going to put through the changes. You said it yourself. Oh, we'll release them when they're ready. Oh, they're still coming. Like, you just want us to shut up for now. You just want us to be pacified for the moment, and you kind of just want to do whatever you want, which is very much like, you know, early DBD era behavior, where it's like, no, we know what's best for the game. You guys just play it. Which is fine, but I would much prefer you just pick the lane. I don't like this, oh, we're totally listening to you guys, we hear you, but we're also just going to do whatever we want and disregard everything you feel. Like, we gotta pick a lane. Either you're going to be the down-to-earth, like, super friendly corporate entity that's like actually listening to us, actually trying to improve the health of the game together as a full unit, or you don't care and you just kind of do what you want to do, whatever you want. You don't want to take feedback. Like, you can't be in both lanes. You got to stick to a lane. I've had people in my Twitch chat today when I streamed saying that, like, I don't care. I'm still not coming back to DBD. I talked about in that previous video that I had never seen so many people say I'm like actively quitting or uninstalling DBD. There were a lot of people in my chat today saying I'm not coming back. I'm not reinstalling it, because regardless of the fact that you did decide not to put this out in the new PTB, the message was clear. We heard you. Flip side, we heard you. We heard what you meant, which was survivors can do whatever they want. Killers have to obey a very rigid gameplay flow schedule, and if they don't, you're going to be rigorously punished and made to feel like garbage. And you, even in this post, also say, oh, well, we still think that's a good thing. We still want to do that. We're just going to do it a little differently. So, like, the message is still clear that, like, hey, we're not really listening to you. We have the best interest of the killer role. Even if it makes you miserable, it's better for the health of the game. So the message is clear, and that was something that I warned both on my Twitch streams and also on the YouTube videos that I made about it, was that, like, regardless of if this goes well and you decide to roll back all these changes, the message was loud and clear that you think anybody who tunnels or slugs are just a bunch of big meanies, which is not the case. And it shows you're extremely out of touch. You don't have your finger on the pulse of the community. Yeah, you are out of touch at this point. And it makes me so sad and so upset to have to sit here and make another video talking about how, once again, it seems like you're kind of just doing your own thing and you're not really listening to us. And honestly, yeah, whatever happens at this point happens. Like, we've tried over and over to be like, hey, hold your horses, chill. We all want this game to be more healthy, both your players and the company itself. We both want the game to be healthy. We do. I don't know. I just think it's disappointing to me as someone who in like the past 2 or 3 years, behavior has been far more receptive to changes and actually willing to like take our feedback and make adjustments accordingly. I don't know what's happened in 2025 that has just made this big switch. I've made many theories as to why. Don't know really what's going on. I don't work there. I don't know people. Well, I know some people there, but the point being is that it's like there was some sort of big shift at some point, and now behavior is not as receptive as they used to be to our worries and concerns. They just, I don't know what's going on, whatever company directive or whatever's happening on the back end, but they just don't care as much as they used to. And that sucks, because that's what was making me feel so passionate to try to, you know, be as gung-ho about Dead by Daylight and everything about it, because I thought we were really going in a good direction, and we were working with people on the back end of behavior who actually did care about us and wanted to see things change for the better. But yeah, you know, say la vie. What can you do? if they're not listening, they're not listening. What can you do? They're gonna do their own thing. I'll keep making videos about the gazebo more, because I think it's a cool killer, and I'll try to help people learn and understand that character the best they can. Also, great time to mention, I have an alt channel called Headache Plays, where I not only upload VODs of video of games that I play on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TheMrHeadache, but I also upload just raw uploads of gameplays that in playthroughs that only exist there, like the Look Outside playthrough. So yeah, probably see more of that, considering the way the behavior is treating the game at the moment. So yeah, the TLDRs, yeah, this is great. I'm glad the exchanges aren't coming through with this PTB, but hey, they're putting them again through in another PTB and to live at some point. So cool. I guess they really didn't hear us, but we heard you. Bummer. But yeah, what do you guys think? Are you happy that the changes got reverted? Are you like me where you're worried about the, oh yeah, well, we'll test it again later. Don't worry, it's coming back to another PTP. All right, other than that, this could be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you like it and subscribe. That's how I know I'm doing a good job on the back end. Otherwise, I hope this video made your day a little bit better today. If it didn't, I'll try to do so again in the next video. If I don't see you there, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.